Santos, and he just got a victory in Los Angeles with Barrera Sullivan. And he's a light heavyweight. He only had one loss. Unfortunately, that loss is to the champ, Andre Ward. But he fought this other kid who knocked another guy out of the ring. Derik, how you doing today?
Hey, how you doing, Al?
And also, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It was a hard fight, but we stuck to the plan and did what we had to do to get the victory.
Oh, yeah, because he got knocked down in the first round.
Yeah, well, Joe Smith Jr., as everybody knows, was coming off a knockout win of Fonfora. He came off of knocking out the legend Bernard Hopkins, albeit at an older age, but still, nobody had ever knocked out the crafty Bernard Hopkins. So
not at all. Not even Andre Ward.
No, so we knew it was going to be a tough fight. Like you said it before, Sullivan's only loss was to the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world, Andre Ward. It was his first huge fight. He only had 17 fights, of course.
In fact, he was the underdog.
Yeah.
Smith was the favorite.
Yes, he was.
They expected him to lose.
Well, I think Smith was the fan favorite, might even been the network favorite because he had the story, a nice story. He's a union laborer, and that's all great. But Sullivan also has a nice story too. He had to leave his
fans.
Yeah, and had to leave his entire family behind. His daughter, his
Cuba.
To come here 8 years ago and start his career. And for this fight, he was lucky enough to have his father was granted a visa to come watch him for the first time ever in his life. So that was extra motivation. Both guys had good stories. Of course, being in America, Joe Smith's story carried more weight because people didn't know Sullivan Barrera's story. Hopefully they're getting to know his side of the story, and he worked just as hard as Joe Smith. Both of them are worthy fighters, and they put on a show.
They put on a great show. And also, I will admit this sad story was about his father, and his father he haven't seen in 8 years. But I think the really big story was that he put on a good fight, and all the judges gave him the victory.
Yeah, well, Sullivan, that's the thing about him. He's got, apart from being a great student and really listening to the game plan, he's got a lot of heart, man. He's been knocked down off balance before in fights, and this particular shot that he received from Joe Smith was
in the first round.
Yeah, it was a good bit of both. Not only was he open and off balance, but also Joe Smith is a heck of a puncher. And I think it showed not only the kind of heart and the merit that should be given to Sullivan, because he not only shook that off, but he came back pretty much to dominate Joe Smith in every round. Even though Joe fought valiantly, I don't want to take that away from him, and he was very dangerous the entire fight. Like you said, every round was won by Sullivan Barrera.
Now, I looked in your corner as you was there. They have boxing, and I looked in the corner. Were you worried about the referee, Jack?
No, Jack Reese, I've had him before in some fights. He's a good referee. I think there was a misunderstanding there at the end when Jack Reese was thinking that Sullivan was kind of playing off that he was getting hit in the face. But Sullivan was telling him in Spanish that when Jack called stop, where Jack couldn't see was that Joe was hitting him to the body. So Sullivan turns his head like, oh, he's hitting me to the body. Jack Reese thought he complained that he was hitting him with the shoulder to the face. So Jack admonished him and said, hey, I don't come up with any games, don't come up making stories. But what I told Jack at the end when I saw this, Sullivan tells me in Spanish, no, he's hitting me to the body, not to the face. So it was a clear miscommunication between Sullivan and Jack Reese. That was towards the end of the fight. But Jack Reese did an excellent job in the fight. He let them fight, and he let them fight when they were in close. He broke them in and then close. I have no complaints about Jack Reese. I have no complaints about the show in general, which was a Golden Boy show in
which was a very good thing.
Yeah, in collaboration with Main Events and Star Boxing de la Guardia. I have no complaints about how we were treated or anything like that.
One more thing. Now, I saw you when you were in this ring talking to him. you talk to him in a very calm way. You didn't have to shout and scream and call him all kind of names. So he understood exactly what he had to do and what your game plan was it?
Yeah, well, you know, Al, I studied a lot of trainers in the past. Even if you weren't living with them, and with today's technology, you can study a lot of trainers, you can see a lot of interviews, you can read a lot of stuff. And one of the things that I remember most was Eddie Futch. It always stuck in my head that Eddie Futch said,
the great Eddie Futch.
The great Eddie Futch, who the award for Trainer of the Year is named after him. He was considered probably the greatest trainer of all time. Eddie always talked about staying steady, about getting your fighter's attention, making sure you had his attention, and not to give him overkill in the corner. Don't start getting all bent out of shape, because that doesn't help the fighter. If you get frenetic, the fighter gets more frenetic. So you have to calm the fighter down. You have to give him a specific plan. It isn't go out there and fight. Every fighter is there to fight. You don't tell them go out and fight. You give them specific instructions, whether it's jab here, whether it's place your right hand here, whether it's roll and slip here, whatever it is, whether it's you're going to box and put pressure on him. You have to give a fighter a specific instruction. You know, nowadays, I'm sometimes, it's a pet peeve of mine. I watch fights and I see trainers in the corner, go out and fight hard.
And slapping them in the face and cursing at them.
You know, sometimes you have to get a little stern. I'm not worried about that. But you have to give a specific instruction. Telling a fighter to go out there and fight, or just punch, or go knock him out, or whatever. It's not a specific instruction. Anybody who's sitting on their couch can tell them to do that. I believe you're failing the fighter when you do something like that.
Whoa, Derik, I want to thank you for taking time with me. Not only are you a great trainer, you're also a great person of history of boxing. To talk about Eddie Futch and things like that, man, that really impresses me a lot. Hey, I'm going to see you again.
Thank you, Al. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You know, you're one of my favorite trainers too, buddy.
Thank you. We got a lot coming up, and hopefully we'll see you soon. I'll keep you updated on what the rest of the DS Boxing Squad is doing. Thank you.
Please do that.
This is your entertainment ticket. Latest and greatest.